What's up everyone? Dustin Jones out here at a top secret test location with pretty much all the engineers from Can-Am out here. And I say that because there's 3 18-wheelers, Fox is out here. We're out here testing the long-awaited and all-new Can-Am Maverick R. This is the fireback to the Polaris Pro R. This is the updated, newest, latest, and greatest version of the Can-Am X3, but they're nothing like the previous models. There's nothing like any other UTV on the market, and so it's only fitting for us to give you a walk around and a look at this brand new Can-Am Maverick R. And as we walk around this thing, keep in mind this is a prototype vehicle, so there will be some little changes here and there, different colored plastic, different sticker kit. This is not the production model, but still gives you a good idea of what we're looking at. All right, so the biggest question is, how big of a motor did they put into this thing? Well, Can-Am stuck to what all the manufacturers kind of agreed to and staying under that 1000cc or 1-liter motor. So this is still that triple cylinder, but true 1000cc motor, but there's some other goodies in this drivetrain motor transmission package that you're really gonna like. The first thing that we gotta look at is this gnarly suspension that they just released. And this thing is built for the rough. We've already been hitting the deepest whoops, the roughest sections out here testing it. And it is unreal how Can-Am stepped it up with a level of performance with this new suspension. And this thing actually sits at 77 inches wide with factory wheels on it. And when you look at it, it's wild, it's crazy, it's kind of funky, but man, does it work. The first thing that you're gonna notice is these huge knuckles and now this new A-arm that wraps all the way out here and actually tucks up inside of the plastic. That's the most obvious big change that's going on. But when you look closer, you see Can-Am now runs the shock down to the lower A-arm to help put weight down on that lower ball joint to drive the suspension into the ground, and so it corners better. It handles the rough better. It's got amazing travel. This thing absolutely gets down with its suspension design. It's got factory 32s on this unit, but we have put 35s on here. It will clear 35s with these knuckles in stock form. Also, you're gonna notice 6 lug wheels. This thing is built to take some abuse, so huge brakes. When you look down in here, these things are twice, maybe 3 times bigger than the brakes on other sport side-by-sides. Full unibearing, big wheel bearings, huge brakes, big suspension and shocks, built to get down. And if you really look close, when you get in here with the A-arms, you're gonna notice 14mm bolts on the suspension. Really stepped it up to big bolts. A whole new design of a steering rack, monster steering rack. Bolts to the frame a little differently. Front differential is different. It's definitely physically larger. When you first look at it, you notice it's a bigger front differential. When you walk up to it, one of the first things you notice is the brand new fascia. And there's a reason this thing is so wide, not only for looks and aesthetics, but it's got a monster radiator in this thing. Dual electric fans. And so it's got more cooling than any other UTV on the market. And it's because this thing is built to be beat. And so when you look at the wheels, it's basically a high positive, maybe a 0 offset wheel. Really nice scrub radius, really reduce the feedback through the steering wheel. So this thing drives amazing. Throwing it into corners, hitting gnarly whoops, running through the rough stuff. Basically no feedback through the steering. With this new suspension design, and something that is really exciting about this is Can-Am really push hard to completely eliminate bump steer and feedback through the steering wheel. And so this thing looks gnarly, looks wild, there's a lot going on, but man, it drives incredible. Really nice doors on this thing. Comes factory with a slick little door, got an external door handle. And so these things fit up, handle really nice. And then also you notice they almost boat-sided the car now. And so basically they put a tapered cut, kind of like what we do on our King of the Hammers race chassis. And that's to, you know, clear rocks and fit through obstacles better. Kind of narrows the body up, so it makes it look like kind of a spider, like full-blown race car. I really dig this look. And as you come around to the back, you also notice a similar style of knuckle and suspension as the front. You've got these huge knuckles that wrap up around here. You've got a really high 3rd radius rod up here that comes and connects to the frame up under this back end. But it reduces scrub, it reduces camber change. I know it looks really crazy and it's really stepping outside the box with this new suspension design, but man, when you drive it and you see the performance of it, it's unreal what this thing will do with this new design. Really big CVs. You know, they just stepped up the size of the CVs in the front and rear. Nice sway bar that runs back up here and connects to the rear. So it helps with cornering, helps with handling. And you definitely see, it's obvious, huge trailing arms on this thing. And all 14mm bolts holding the rear suspension on. And so it is strong, it is beefy. For the rear radius rods, instead of having studs sticking out the rear, now they went to a bolt that actually bolts into the back. So swapping your radius rods, adjusting alignment, gonna be so much easier now with running the bolts in from the rear. So I feel like now that we checked out the suspension and kind of the styling of this thing and the big features, it's time to jump in the interior and show you what that looks like. When you get in, like you see, it's still got basically a Can-Am style of seat. So it looks like the seats that came out of the X3. Nice, comfortable seats, nice bolsters. This car's got the 4-point retractable harnesses. So I really like this. And sitting in it in the driver's seat, you still get that Can-Am X3 feel. Your vision is really nice. You can almost see the tires from the driver's seat. And so that's really cool. First feature I noticed, not only tilt, but telescoping steering wheels. So no matter where you like your seating position, how far you like your hands away from you, this thing's got a telescoping and adjustable up and down steering wheel. There's also some nice little buttons on the knob now. That's gonna run some of the features that this thing offers. Can-Am has really stepped it up with electronics in the interior, because when you first cut on the key, the thing that you're gonna notice most is this huge display screen that shows all of your vitals, your RPM, your mile per hour, what mode you're in, all the things that are going on with your car in a really nice setup right here in the dash. And along with all that electronics, you're gonna come down here and on the dash, you're gonna see engine mode, suspension mode, drive mode, four-wheel drive, DPS adjustment. So when you look down here in the center console where your gear selector normally is, you're gonna notice you have a simple shifter that goes R and D. And then when you come down below that, you're gonna have your park, neutral, low, and then you're gonna have the manual mode. And manual mode is what's gonna shock the world. This thing's got a brand new 7-speed dual clutch transmission, which is absolutely unbelievable. Not only does it have paddle shifters on the steering wheel for when you select manual mode, but you can take it out of manual mode and drive this thing in fully automatic. And what's really cool is even in auto mode, you can downshift if you want to pull a little more power or get another gear. You can pull it down a couple of gears and then it automatically upshifts for you. So this thing, it's unbelievable. Full dual clutch transmission. It's got multiple engine modes, multiple suspension modes, and multiple driving modes. And then when you look towards the back of the interior, you realize this thing has a huge intake here where a really small one used to be before for the intercooler. This thing has a monster intercooler, and Can-Am knew like air intake temperatures will absolutely kill power for this thing. It'll really reduce the power the hotter the intake temperatures get, but it's also funneling air into another cooler. There is a 2-fan cooler setup for the transmission alone, and so they've got a cooler built in to keep this new 7-speed transmission cool at all times. They kept that signature Rotax motor, and so it is the triple cylinder, and Rotax went wild this year and designed this all new 7-speed transmission. And when you look at this thing, it is monstrous. This thing is physically a big transmission out here, which everybody knows bigger is better. Unreal, the beating of this thing's take. Still looks brand new from the outside. And hidden under these heat shields is an all new redesigned turbo for this thing, and it is a big turbo. And for me, that means the bigger the turbo, the more power this thing's capable of making. So that's just a quick walk around of the brand new Can-Am Maverick R. And I'm excited to come out with the videos of all of the features, all the drive modes, the suspension modes, everything this thing has to offer, because it's unbelievable how intelligent this new vehicle is. Plus, no more belts, no more CVTs, dual clutch, manual 7-speed transmission. It's time to beat on this thing. If you want some more information, follow us on YouTube or go check out canamoffroad.com.